This regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees is called to order at 7 p.m. on May the 7th, 2015. At this time, would you please stand as Richard Fleming leads our board's opening prayer, and remain standing as John Matthew leads us in the pledge to the U.S. and Texas flag.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have given us. We ask that you continue to guide our district, our school district, its leaders, in our actions. Give us the inspiration to continue to meet the needs of the future. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. As a district, we dedicate all of our effort and resources to our goal of high achievement for all students. And the board uses this goal to guide in all of our deliberations, decisions, and actions. You will get to see all deliberation and actions of the board in open session, with the exception of some items which may be discussed in a closed session as stipulated under the Texas Government Code, Section 551, which is commonly referred to as the Open Meetings Law. And these items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with our attorneys, and real estate. For the record, all board members are in attendance with the exception of Ms. Nancy Watton and Mr. Randy Shackman. However, we do constitute a quorum and conduct business on behalf of the district. One other matter. As required by our board policy, BBD Local, at each meeting of the board, the president shall announce and the minutes shall reflect the name of each board member who has completed the required training, who has exceeded the required hours of training, and who is deficient in the required hours of training as of the date of this meeting. And this must be done before any vote is taken by the board. Let the minutes reflect that all members of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees has completed and exceeded the required hours for the 2014 and will begin acquiring these hours for the 2015 school year. That being said, we will now go to agenda item 2, recognition of special guests and announcements. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Members of the board, to our guests, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. Hope you didn't get too wet coming in. I know there's some big drops coming down out there. But thank you. We value and appreciate your time. We know it's valuable, and so you coming to visit with us and be at our board meetings is special to us, and so thank you for being here. Special to us also are our recognitions, and we have our first recognition tonight will be our VIPs. And we often talk about being thankful and telling people that you appreciate and that you thank them for what they do, but we like to say that you need to have an act of gratitude and have a physical presence to show how much that you appreciate them. And so our act of gratitude is our VIP recognition tonight. And we want to thank our VIP recipients for all their hard work that they have done throughout the years, and to show them how much we appreciate them with this act of gratitude by our recognition. We'd also like those that are here tonight to support our VIPs to please stand when your VIP person is introduced and to join us in this act of gratitude. Now at this time, Mr. Good, would you join me in the front?
Very good.
Good evening, Dr. Burns, Mr. Good, and members of the school board. My name is Sherry Scrutch, and I have the privilege of being the principal at Ranch View High School. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Caroline Kinlaw, our newest member of the very important profession of teaching. The tradition at Ranch View High School is that members of the staff nominate and select our recipient for this very important honor. This year, the responses from the faculty all echoed the same message. Mrs. Kinlaw is always positive and hardworking. She's a great role model for her students and genuinely cares for their development. She finds a way to overcome challenges while never giving excuses, and she constantly goes out of her way to make life easier for everyone she works with. She teaches her art classes with patience and humor and is a true asset to our department and staff. Caroline graduated from James Bowie High School in Arlington and then studied art and education at the University of Texas in Austin and at University of North Texas. Along the way, she majored in every art she could. She was a ceramics major, an art history major, a studio art major, and finally found her place in art education. Caroline enjoys painting and making all kinds of arts and crafts, spending time with her husband Chance, and spoiling their little dog. Caring, consistent, organized, and dedicated are all words that describe Caroline Kinlaw. This year, Caroline stepped in and took over two very important programs at Ranch View when we needed it the most. First, she became the cheerleading coach, which was a huge undertaking because cheer never really has an off season. Starting practice at 6:30 every morning, Caroline shows her dedication and love for her students. She effectively holds the kids accountable for her high expectations and lets them know when and how to improve. She is always working to make her program the best that it can be. Second, Caroline took over the IB art classes this spring when her fellow art teacher went on maternity leave. Caroline helped guide the IB art diploma candidates as they finished their pieces for the art show, recorded their process and reflection video segments, and uploaded their portfolio for the IB art assessments. Through this very stressful process, Caroline maintained her sunny outlook, calming many stressed and overwhelmed students. Student Benjamin Pena said of Miss Kinlaw, "Each and every day she greets everyone with a smile, and it just brightens your whole day. She's also showed me that by having a positive attitude, you can literally make someone's day." Senior McGregor Williams said, "Whenever I need artistic advice, Miss Kinlaw is always there to give me tips on what I need to do or what I can fix that would improve my picture even by the slightest. She's never afraid to tell me when I can do better, when she feels that I'm not trying my best, or when I'm not living up to my full potential." Above all, Caroline Kinlaw is a great teammate. In talking with Caroline, she shared that her favorite thing about Ranch View is our amazing staff. She said, "I found great inspiration, made impactful friends, and have been motivated by my colleagues in the wonderful team that we have." Because she exemplifies professionalism, character, integrity, strong work ethic, and a love for her job, I am thrilled to welcome Mrs. Caroline Kinlaw as the newest member of the very important profession of teaching.
Hello, I am Melissa Wesley, principal of the B. Salazar Learning Center, and it is my pleasure to present to you our VIP, Mr. David Johnson. David, a graduate of Carrollton-Farmers branch schools, chose education as his profession and started his career by teaching for a year in China. After his return, we were lucky enough to hire him at Salazar, where he has remained for 4 years. David brings youthful energy and enthusiasm to his work and students each day. He is one of the kindest and most caring young men you will ever meet. His students describe David as caring and respectful. One student said of David, "He doesn't treat us like we're bad kids. He treats us like kids who have come to a school for extra support." He is a role model of what a man should be for students who may not have many such role models, and is sincerely interested in helping our students achieve success in math and in life. Math is a challenging subject to teach when many of the students who come to Salazar have a past history of failure and frustration. David gently and patiently meets each student where they are and then helps to empower them by believing in their abilities until they can do so for themselves. His classroom exhibits student work done by students at Salazar, which gives them a well-needed sense of pride and accomplishment. An 8th grade student said, "He explains it to me and I say, I don't get it. And he explains it to me again and I say, I don't get it. And he explains it and shows me again until I finally get it. He speaks quietly and walks quietly and is a man of few words, but behind all of that quiet calm is a man who loves math and loves his work with challenging middle school students." Even though David is a young teacher, he has served as the Salazar representative on the District Improvement Committee and has worked diligently to become the best teacher possible. He attends every math professional development offered and has participated in instructional rounds. He is everyone's little brother, the baby of the staff at Salazar, and I am honored to present to you our Mr. Patience and VIP for 2014-2015, Mr. David Johnson.
Good evening, Dr. Burns, Mr. Good, and members of the school board. I'm Amy Miller, principal at Sheffield Elementary. Please join me in welcoming Sheffield Elementary's newest member of the very important profession of teaching, Mr. Caleb Esparza. Caleb is one busy music teacher. He is a CFB alum, and he serves Sheffield as our primary music teacher, staff at After the Bell, coordinator of many nighttime programs for Sheffield, and mentor to many music teachers in the district. Caleb is the kind of teacher who facilitates learning so that students are actively involved. He embraces any district initiative and works to make sure our kids are musically sound before they go to the intermediate side of the street. There is a buzz in the classroom as students learn to use instruments, learn different beats, and ways that we sing. Conversations are taking place in music for our K-2 students about their learning. Caleb seamlessly uses talk moves to support our general education curriculum and our instructional rounds problem of practice. Caleb helps students to answer questions so that the level of understanding is high. The students get it in Mr. Esparza's class. While we work as a family at Sheffield to ensure high achievement at all grade levels, Caleb is instrumental on the fine arts side with helping with this effort. Children are prepared for upper grade music beginning with Caleb. His expectations are high, and children work to meet that standard. Children love to go to music at Sheffield. Caleb's students absolutely love and admire him. Students shared these words of affection about Mr. Esparza. "I love music. I like the music games because they're fun. He loves us. I love Mr. Esparza's music, and so does everyone else." And finally, I think this student best sums up what everyone feels. He has these instruments, and when you grow up and be a music teacher, you can visualize in your head how to be a music teacher because of the way that he taught us. No truer words were ever spoken. It is my joy, Caleb, to recognize you as a member of the very important profession of teaching. I'm proud of you.
Good evening, Dr. Burns and members of the board. My name is Brooke Purcelli, and it is my privilege to serve as the principal at R.L. Turner High School. It is my pleasure tonight to honor our newest member of the very important profession of teaching, Mr. Kerry Brown. Carrie is unable to join us tonight, but we're excited to recognize his many contributions to the R.L. Turner community. With phrases like true blue Turner Lion, education hero, man of faith, and loyal friend used to describe him, it's no surprise that Carrie is our choice to receive this special recognition. Carrie has been teaching business classes at Turner since 1999. He and his wife Beth have lived in Farmers Branch for more than 27 years. Both of their children, Stratton and Katie, are Turner graduates, and they have both followed in their father's footsteps and become teachers. Carrie has always been an active member of the community. He has served as both a CFB and select soccer coach and was once named Coach of the Year for Recreation Soccer for the entire state of Texas. Carrie and Beth began a Christian volleyball club for local girls through Christ United Methodist Church, and he has worked as the media director for First Baptist Church of Garland for the past 8 years. But Carrie's greatest acts of community service have been through his work as a teacher and mentor to Turner students. In his quiet way, he respects and trusts his students, and he gains their respect and trust in return. He is consistently voted a top 10 teacher, and his students have many words of thanks and praise for him. Shay Phillips says, "He always makes me smile." Ivan Rodriguez said, "There are many people who have had an impact on my life, and he is one of them. He has taught me so many things and helped me to grow into the man I am today." Brittany Trujillo said, "I want to thank him for being such an amazing teacher." Carrie's colleagues are no less complimentary. Teacher Dora Flores says, "Mr. Brown was my teacher when I was at Turner, and he was the best. He was always encouraging and had a smile on his face. There was never a day I didn't want to go to class, even though it was business." Counselor Suzanne Sarah shared, "Carrie Brown is an excellent teacher. He always has a positive attitude and a friendly spirit about him, even in the face of adversity. He has a genuine concern for each of his students. He has the unique ability to connect with his students in a special way, and he motivates them to achieve success. He has been such a blessing to the I-Lead College at RLT." Carrie has decided to retire from teaching, and the Turner community will miss his gentle spirit, kind heart, and quiet compassion. He's been a teacher, mentor, and friend for both the students and teachers of RLT and the I-Lead College. He has left an indelible stamp on the culture and spirit of our school. He will be truly missed. True blue Turner Lion, education hero, man of faith, and loyal friend. These are just a few of the reasons why I am truly honored to name Carrie Brown as R.L. Turner's newest member of the very important profession of teaching.
Thank you for being here tonight. We have a saying, schools cannot do it alone, and we need the business partners, we need the faith-based organizations, we need all of the people in our community to help us reach our goal of high achievement for all our students. So tonight, we have a recognition to recognize one of our partners, and that's the North Dallas Family Church. Ms. Brooke Purcell is also here, representing Turner, so we'd like you to come on up, and we'd like to say a little bit about this partnership and how thankful we are. Please come up.
Tonight, we recognize the North Dallas Family Church in Carrollton for their involvement in our partnership and education program.
We are indeed fortunate to have such an outstanding relationship with Pastor Gonzalez and the North Dallas Family Church, an organization that serves. The members of this congregation care about their community and make a positive difference. Our partnership is an example of what is possible when a public school and caring individuals work together for the welfare of our young people. The North Dallas Family Church has been an outstanding community partner serving R.L. Turner High School newcomer students and their families through our mentorship program. The Board of Trustees expresses its gratitude to North Dallas Family Church for assisting our students and supporting R.L. Turner through a new program that supports second language learners. In the fall of 2014, members of the church volunteered to meet with CFB and Turner staff to discuss the program and participate in a mentored training program. Each student in the newcomer program was then assigned a mentor from the congregation. The mentors began meeting with their students once or twice a week at Turner. Each time the mentors bring lunch and share their own stories from their experiences. They talk with the students about their classes, their grades, and encourage them to work hard and succeed. In November, the congregation hosted a spaghetti dinner for the students and their families at the church. The mentors and other volunteers from the church prepared and served the students and families and spoke to the parents about how to support and encourage their students at Turner. Our newcomer students have benefited greatly from the support, encouragement, and positive influence of their mentors from the North Dallas Family Church. We are grateful that the North Dallas Family Church has chosen to partner with and support our district. They have cared for the health and well-being of our students and families in so many ways, which, as we know, produces a strong and healthy learning environment. On behalf of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District Board of Trustees, and with James Good, President, and Dr. Bobby Burns, Superintendent, presenting, it is our privilege to present this plaque to the North Dallas Family Church, a church organization that truly exemplifies a meaningful relationship between our community and our schools. Accepting the plaque on behalf of the church is Pastor Gonzalez, representing the North Dallas Family Church.
With those great staff members, great community support, great partnership, we got some really great students. And several of them are here with us tonight to be recognized for a very, very significant academic accomplishment. We're going to start with Rangeview High School with our national merit.
Dr. Burns and members of the school board, I am pleased to present to you Mr. Francis Cooper III. Come on up, Francis. Francis is being recognized this year as a National Merit Achievement participant. Francis is the son of Cleopatra Benjamin Cooper. Before coming to Ranchview, he attended Barbara Bush Middle School and Las Colinas Elementary. He's a member of the National Honor Society and Student Council. He has been recognized for all-state contrabass clarinet and bass clarinet. He has been recognized as a National Merit Achievement participant this year. He has also been involved in cross-country, track, and Ranchview band. He has accepted an appointment to the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs after graduation, and we are so proud of our recipient this year. Congratulations.
R.L. Turner also has several students to recognize tonight. The first is our National Merit finalist, Michelle Park. Michelle is the daughter of Kwan Il and Mick Yong Kim. Michelle will attend Stanford University this fall with plans to major in biology. We also have a National Achievement Scholarship winner and National Merit Commended Scholar to recognize this evening, Ms. Teddy Sims. Teddy is the daughter of Teddy and Araceli Sims. She attended McLaughlin Elementary and DeWitt Perry Middle School. Teddy will attend Washington University in St. Louis and major in mathematics and chemistry. We have 3 National Merit Commended Scholars to recognize this evening. The first is Ryan Durkee. Ryan is the son of Joseph and Barbara Durkee. He attended Las Colinas and McCoy Elementary Schools and DeWitt Perry Middle School. He will attend the University of Texas at Austin in the fall and plans to major in computer engineering. Our next National Merit Commended Scholar is Jacqueline Nahara. Jacqueline is the daughter of Andres and Maria Nahara. She attended McCoy Elementary and DeWitt Perry Middle School. Jacqueline will begin college this fall at Brookhaven. Jacqueline is also a National Hispanic Recognition Program Scholar. Our final National Merit Commended Scholar this evening is Keely Pike. Keely is the daughter of Steve and Kitty Pike. She attended Country Place Elementary and Ted Polk Middle School. She plans to attend SMU this fall and major in mechanical engineering. We also have 2 National Achievement Outstanding participants. The first is Jeffrey Cheney. Jeffrey is the son of Hisai and Jeffrey Lynn Cheney. He attended Freeman Elementary and Barbara Bush Middle School. Jeffrey will attend the DigiPen Institute of Technology and major in game design and computer science. Our second National Achievement Outstanding participant is Sydney Garcia. Sydney could not be with us tonight. She couldn't get off work tonight because she asked for work off last weekend to go to prom, so you have to have priorities. Sydney attended McCoy Elementary and DeWitt Perry Middle School. Sydney will attend the University of Texas at San Antonio and major in kinesiology. And finally, we have 2 National Hispanic Recognition Program Scholars tonight. The first is J.T. Molina. J.T. is the son of Hector and Ruth Molina. He attended Carrollton Elementary and DeWitt Perry Middle School. J.T. will attend Texas Tech University this fall and plans to major in music education. And our second National Hispanic Recognition Program Scholar is Jorge Galeana. Jorge is the son of Jorge and Petra Galeana. He attended Carrollton Elementary and Ted Polk Middle School. Jorge plans to attend the University of North Texas and major in computer engineering.
Mr. Good, members of the board, that concludes our recognition for this evening.
On behalf of the school board, I'd like to say first, thank you to our VIPs. It's always wonderful to hear the story of what your accomplishments are at your local campus. This is many times as close as we get to the success that you are having, and we are just honored that we have the privilege for you to be here with us and that we can say thank you. And it's always enjoyable to see what you teach, how you teach, why you teach, and what brought you to CFB ISD. That has always been a great interest to me, and it's always thrilling when one of our VIPs is a graduate from our school district, R.L. Turner High School. And we are truly thrilled to see the next generation of teachers are coming from our own students. It's just marvelous. And especially to those who support our school district in so many ways. And especially for the North Dallas Family Church and their impact and their influence on these young students coming into our school district who are bewildered, lost, and truly disoriented, I must say. And it's wonderful for you to be able to take them under your arms and to nurture them, encourage them, and to have an impact even upon their parents. We are truly honored for your belief in what we can do with those students once we have organizations like yours to be able to bring those students into an environment such as our school district. So thank you very much for what you do. And finally, R.L. Turner, you have an exceptional student body, and it's exemplified tonight by those that we had the privilege to recognize. Not only are we thrilled, but we hope that you will stay in touch with this school district. Let us know of your accomplishments as you go away to the various universities and those who even have the university/military in mind. We are thrilled that we've had the privilege of this school district to influence your life over these many years, but also you speak volumes to Carrollton-Farmers branch when you go out into your respective universities and to the various locations you may go throughout your life. We are thrilled that we have all of you as ambassadors to speak on behalf of not only R.L. Turner, but our entire school district and public education. So to all of you that came here to share this evening, thank you to all of you. Yeah. I apologize.
And Ranchview.
Sherry, I forgot to think about the National Merit finalist from Ranchview High School. I forgot to say thank you to him also for being here. That is truly the challenge the school district has. We have so many who are just excelling academically that us, as we get older, we forget how many we are truly influencing. And it's just wonderful to be reminded if I forget someone, because we definitely want to recognize and honor all of our students who have just unbelievable successes while being with us. So thank you all once again. Okay, that's it. With all of that being said, I wanted to make sure, before I let Dr. Burns say anything further, that we are truly honored to have all of you with us this evening. However, I know that tomorrow is still a school day. Therefore, what we are going to do, we are going to take a short 10-minute recess, and then we will reconvene this meeting at 7:45 p.m. This meeting is reconvened at 7:45 p.m. Before going on to the next agenda item, I'd like to remind the audience that the board does encourage comments from our citizens and also even our district employees. Therefore, anyone wishing to address or speak to either as an individual or as a representative of a group may do so in a few minutes during agenda item 4A. However, prior to that, we ask that you submit a request form, fill it out, which is outside the double doors to my left, and then give that form to Ms. Sharon Scrivener, and at the appropriate time, you will be called forward to address the board. Now, that being said, we will now proceed to our next agenda item, which is agenda item 3, report by superintendent. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Members of the board, as you know, each board meeting we present on some aspect of student achievement, and specifically what are we doing from the instructional side to address student achievement. And so you've had several items this year to consider and ponder, and tonight I think is one that we've asked many times over, how does technology help us learn? And so we have prepared for you tonight some examples of that and why technology is important. You've also had a book you're reading about how people learn, and it addresses the technology aspect of it. We can't say that all the questions are answered yet, but I think the progress is going fast, and we're learning more and more each day. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Warnock for technology and learning.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. Mr. Good, members of the board. Tonight, we want to call your attention back to our last achievement presentation, and we talked about literacy. And we shared with you some data that we know by age 3 that there is a 30 million word gap between homes of affluence and homes with limited resources. And tonight we want to push your thinking about a new illiteracy in the 21st century, and that is the digital divide. With the information age that is really new to us. When we look back historically, we won't have had an information revolution such as the time we're in now since the invention of the printing press. And what that will change in terms of the way we access information, the volume of information that's available to us, there will be a new illiteracy of the 21st century and beyond if we don't have students that are equipped to manage and navigate that digital information. We want to applaud the commitment of the board in dedicating resources to our district to move forward with digital learning. We want to remind our audience that it is about access for all students. It's not about a tool or a device. Digital learning is about thinking and being able to navigate through a complex web of information and needing to build the tools to do so. So to talk a little bit about what we are doing in CFB and some issues we need to think about related to digital learning, we invite Kathy Webb, our Chief Technology Officer, and Adirsha Velasquez, our Instructional Technology Director.
As Mrs. Warnock was saying, the digital world is ever-changing, and as it expands, the definition of learning is taking on whole new meanings. The quote by Dr. Simon addresses the shift from knowing to being able to find and use information. When we were growing up, if we asked a question, instead of being given the answer, the common response might have been, look it up. Today, when we ask a question and we are not given the answer, we are admonished to Google it.
Oh, hey, Mike. What are you up to?
Just diagramming this accident with my State Farm Pocket Agent app. You can also get a quote and pay your premium with this thing.
I thought State Farm didn't have all those apps.
Where'd you hear that?
The internet.
And you believed it?
Yeah. They can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
Where'd you hear that? The internet.
Oh, look. Here comes my date. I met him on the internet. He's a French model.
Bonjour.
State Farm. More mobile than ever. Get to a better state.
Our students are citizens of a digital world, and their primary source of information is the internet. And anyone can publish on the internet. And that fact alone should challenge the notion that everything on the internet is true. However, as our video just portrayed, there are people who believe that if you find it on the internet, it is indeed true. And that includes some of our students. So tonight we want to take a minute, and I want you to imagine that you're a 4th grade student. And you have been directed to a specific website where you find details about the endangered tree octopus. Some of you have heard of the tree octopus. Okay, so since you're being directed to the website, your learning is about how to use information in a digital medium. So keep that in mind. That's the important key. But while we're looking at this, we're going to employ some of our pre-reading strategies we learned in class. The last board work study, you had the opportunity maybe to observe some of the pre-reading strategies in action as you went into classrooms. So here's our website. It's about the endangered tree octopus. And so if we're looking at that, we're going, oh, there's a title. There's a picture. It looks fairly realistic. There's a map. There's some subheadings. Those are indicators that this could be nonfiction, which kind of makes sense because everything on the internet is true. So there we have it. Now, let's look at the layout itself. That looks like a typical website. It even has tabs. It looks credible to me. But also, it champions a cause. And in Who Owns the Learning, Alan November cites some examples that indicate that students who are drawn to activities with a divine purpose or cause will be more likely to involve themselves greatly in that, even if it's not going to require them to get a grade for it. But let me tell you a little bit about this website, because there's something you need to know. This website about the endangered tree octopus was created, designed, and developed in the New Literacies Research Lab at the University of Connecticut, supervised by Dr. Donald Liu. Dr. Liu, oh, wait, let me tell you something about that. Those are fancy words for it's not real. Dr. Liu conducted a study among what we call the Facebook generation or our digital natives. He wanted to prove that they believe everything that they read on the internet. So they were tasked to go to this website, and it was to test their ability to evaluate and use information that they read online. So, surprisingly, or maybe not, the students not only believed everything that was on that internet site, but they were adamant that the tree octopus existed. Even after the researchers sat across from them and said, "We made all this up," they still believed it, because where did they read it? On the internet. This inability to distinguish fact from fiction in a digital medium is a call for us to be mindful that we need to provide rich opportunities for our students to develop critical thinking skills through digital learning. These are skills that are needed to be successful throughout life. If you look at the website that's on the screen right now, it revealed that this was all a hoax. And in that, they're quoting Dr. Liu, and they're pointing out that that is very important to have these critical skills. The Tree Octopus website is now being used as a tool to teach critical thinking skills with digital media. Lesson plans have been written to engage the students so that they'll take a more critical look, so that they maybe will come to the realization that everything on the internet is not true. Students were directed to this website, so they were using the information. But what happens when students are searching the web to find information, where the lines can be blurred and the difference between fact and fiction is not quite so obvious?
So when we talk about the umbrella of digital learning, we could be referencing several things. We could be talking about citizenship, creation, or curation of information on the web. The focus of today's presentation is going to be specifically around digital literacy. So a student's ability to navigate to the World Wide Web, find and use information effectively. So now I want us to switch gears a little bit and imagine that you are 14-year-old Johnny, a freshman walking into Mr. Rodriguez's biology class. You walk in and you see projected on the screen the homework assignment that you're commissioned to complete for the next week. I'll give you a moment to read. Johnny is not particularly excited to see the word documentary as part of his assignment because he knows from prior knowledge that the genre of documentary is equated to a presentation of facts, a presentation of truth. He doesn't necessarily know what blackfish is, but he's a little curious because the teachers commissioned them to be prepared to discuss challenges with orca whales in captivity. So, like a good student, Johnny employs the resources that he has readily available to him and decides to just hone in on that word blackfish. And when he does that, he types it into the magical world of Google to see what information he can find. So the first thing I want you to note is that Johnny gets, just on this one search, 967,000 different results just by typing in the word blackfish into Google. Now, Johnny might not necessarily know exactly what he's looking for yet, but he's a little curious as to this documentary that he's about to watch. He notices the first hit is a site that leads him to the official film site of the documentary. Then he decides, well, I need to know a little bit more. So I'm going to click on a video clip that's going to give me a little bit more of information about this film I'm about to watch.
All whales in captivity are all psychologically traumatized. It's not just telecom.
If you were in a bathtub for 25 years, don't you think you'd get a little psychotic?
Dawn would tell you that it was her mistake. They blamed her.
It's just a bold-faced lie.
I was just instructed to get rid of the tape. The industry has a vested interest in spinning these. That sells a lot of Shamu dolls. It sells a lot of tickets at the gate.
There's no record of an orca doing any harm in the wild.
If I were Johnny, I'm going to be a little bit more excited about watching this documentary. So now my curiosity sparked just by this short video that I've seen. So Johnny's going to continue his search on the web in an attempt to start getting ready for this discussion that his teacher has commissioned him to prepare for. So he's going to go back to the trusty world of Google. And he's going to employ two different strategies that he defaults to because that is what he knows. So strategy number one, I'm going to use a strategy that my teachers have already taught me how to do, and that is crafting an effective question. Because surely if I type the question into Google, I might perhaps receive an answer. So he decides, what are the challenges with orca whales in captivity? Let's see what Google does for us. Gives me 105,000 different results. There's a couple of things that draw Johnny's attention. So I get my first hit here from the Whale and Dolphin Conservation, right? So any organization that focuses on saving these animals is surely going to be credible in my mind. So I might decide to click on that. Not ready to do that yet, though. I noticed that CNN in the second hit here is starting to publish something about killer whales in captivity. So surely there's been some discussion about this movie I have not seen yet, and I'm still not ready to really find the information that I'm looking for. Johnny also might not know what other questions to ask to really filter down this 105,000 results that he's looking at into Google. So he decides to employ strategy number two. I know how to do a basic keyword search, so I'm going to just take the words directly from the teacher's assignment and type that into Google and see what I get. So I'm just going to type in orca whales in captivity. Maybe that'll help me filter down my search a little bit. Not so much. I have 269,000 different results that the internet gives me, but there's a couple of things that I, 14-year-old, am going to hone in on because I'm trying to prepare for this discussion that I'm commissioned to come with some information, and hopefully that information is credible. So I noticed that it's now giving me a list of facts, right? So if I'm going to be prepared to discuss in class, I'm going to want to have some factual information in front of me. And the one piece I hone in on is hit number 2, 8 reasons orcas don't belong at SeaWorld. Why? Because it's a list, right? I, the 14-year-old, am really friendly to lists. That means and alludes to me that that other people have condensed a large amount of information into something small and manageable. And what do you know? Maybe I'll come to class prepared with the information I need. So I'm going to click into this site because now I'm ready to really get into some information. And so now I'm taking a look at this and saying, all right, is this something that's going to be helpful for me to be prepared for my discussion? How do I know this site is credible? So is Johnny, hey, it looks good. So that's number one. There's an attractive logo. There's different tabs that I can move into. They seem to update their news. I can take action. So that means and alludes to me that the discussion is happening outside of just the website. There are different social media connections via the site, also alluding to me that thousands of other people are participating in this discussion. So it all speaks of credibility to me right now. I start to scroll down because I know my teacher's going to expect me to cite the information if I use it in the discussion. And I've been taught that when I look at websites, I probably need to scroll down to the very bottom to get the information I'm going to need to be able to cite effectively. So I notice a couple of things. The website is attributed to an organization. I don't readily know who PETA is as an organization, but I know that it's attributed to an organization. Therefore, I'm equating some credibility to it. I notice it's a nonprofit organization, so they're not selling me anything. Surely they're speaking the truth. It's copyrighted, seemed to be updated 2015. So I know that for the most part, this might be something credible that I'm taking a look at. The one piece that Johnny might not readily be considering is the fact that the site itself is presenting some sort of bias. Does he know and can't he guarantee that the information in front of him is presenting multiple viewpoints, is presenting accurate information, is presenting reliable information? So what tools does Johnny have in his toolbox to take a look at that site that's seemingly credible and be able to evaluate and analyze the information on the internet and really come prepared for his assignment in class? So why is this discussion important?
Literacy has always been defined by the technology, right? Before the printing press, your ability to orally recite something meant to be literate. And so as technology has made things cheaper, we're now saying, well, is someone literate if they cannot critique media, take media in, if they're only taking in traditional text? So if a sixth grader today, by the time they graduate from college, is not fluent, if you will, in some of these other forms of media, I would venture to say that they won't necessarily be considered as being literate.
Mrs. Warnock, that concludes our report. Before I turn it back over to you, though, I'd like to take just a moment to publicly thank all these people out here who support the technologies in our district. If y'all just take a quick stand and be recognized.
Thank you, Ms. Webb and Ms. Velasquez. Thank you to our technology team. We appreciate the work that you do. And again, I want to echo the significance of this work, the weight of this work, and the need to have the tools for the students and teachers to be able to continue really building critical thinking skills around the literacy of the 21st century. Thank you. Dr. Burns?
Thank you, Ms. Warnock. Mr. Good, members of the board?
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions regarding the presentation? Hearing none, seeing none. Ms. Warnock, thank you. And with
Mr.
that,
Good, if I might add, I think one thing for the audience, the board members know this is, what's key for us is building this infrastructure to allow access. The devices change, you all know that. I mean, 10 years ago you were using a computer, now you use a phone. So the devices change, but the accessibility to get the information through technology is where we focus. And so this district has been very proactive in building a robust infrastructure to do that. And so when you came in tonight, there's a Wi-Fi out there for you, for those that are visitors, and then staff everywhere we go. So every building is connected, and every child can get on at our buildings. And we think that's the first step in making sure there's not a digital divide. So.
Very good. Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item 4, which is board operations. And agenda item 4A is audience for guests. As previously stated, this is a mechanism that the school board uses to receive feedback from our constituents. Once again, if you would like to address the board, please ensure that you have filled out the form outside the double doors. Give that form to Mrs. Scrivener. Mrs. Scrivener, do you have any additional forms other than the one?
No, sir, I do not.
Very good. Comments regarding public education issues will be no longer than 3 minutes, and our timekeeper, Mr. Shore, will provide a hand signal at the end of your 3 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act on any issues that are not posted on our agenda for tonight's meeting. If an item is mentioned that is listed on tonight's agenda, the board can defer any discussion. However, it needs to be applied to the agenda at the appropriate time. With that being said, we have the one request form for audience for guests, and that is Dr. Richard Rivera. Dr. Rivera, if you'd come up, introduce yourself, and do your presentation, please.
All right. Good evening. Or this one here. All right. Good evening. I am Dr. Richard Rivera. I am the medical consultant to the district, which I've had for a couple of decades now, I guess, for various reasons. Anyway, as a reminder, I was here a couple of months ago, and I initially, through a couple of companies, realized that there was the availability of presenting epinephrine auto-injectors to the schools of this country, actually, at no charge. I went on my own and obtained those. I had a EpiPen for every school and athletic trainer in the district. Unfortunately, as I said, I did that on my own. I did not come before y'all. I received a notice from y'all's attorney, and I had them returned back to my office. Anyway, during that time period, there was an unfortunate incident in Corpus Christi. A young man died of an anaphylactic reaction when EpiPen was not readily available. And as a result, one of the state senators has taken it upon himself to create legislation, which is now in the process of moving through the state legislature. It currently has passed the Senate. I have copies here. I'll forward to you guys for later. But it has now passed the Senate. It's in the House. It hopes to come out of the House probably middle of next week. I spoke to Senator Hinojosa's office this morning, and it should go to the governor in the next 2 or 3 weeks for signature. If it does, it'll then become, they hope to put it into law by September 1st of this year. There is still a lot of information that needs to be worked on how it'll be administered, how it'll be done, et cetera. Included in here is I also found let's see, Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District. They already have a standing orders that they're created by their medical person that we can certainly look at, and other districts are considering that also that I've spoken to. So I'm just coming for you to let you know that I am still here and I'm still interested in getting a stock supply of these auto-injectors. As I recall last time, someone was going to get back with me to try to work on the details, although no one did. But I'm still available to try and work this out. I know we have a new head with Ms. Burgos, and I've been in contact with her, working with the nurses and the medical staff to try to allow us to proceed in a manner appropriate and effective and efficiently to prevent and protect our children from anaphylaxis, should that occur with a set of available EpiPens or Auvi-Q or other. All these producers now are providing them free, no charge to the district, and will continue to do so. So I just come before you to have you please consider this. I may be asked to put on the agenda officially in the future, but right now we're just watching this pass through legislature, and hopefully if it does come to an agreement and is signed, we can work together to provide safety for our students.
Very good. Dr. Rivera, thank you very much for the update, and I am confident, Dr. Burns.
Sure. We're monitoring all legislation, as you probably know, and so as soon as appropriate action on our part that we can take, we'll be doing, and we certainly appreciate all your help and how you've served the district all these years, so thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Very good. We will now move on to agenda item 4B, which is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together on a single vote. And in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the public notice for this meeting includes the list of all consent agenda items, and the board has been provided ample information about these in advance. And prior to any action taken on the consent agenda, the board members may request withdrawal of individual items for clarification or discussion. Board members, at this time, are there any items on the consent agenda you would like to pull? Seeing none, administration.
We'd like to remove item number 9 and number 16, just for additional comment.
Very good. Board members, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exclusion of agenda item 9 and agenda item 16? Mr. Shore.
Mr. Good, I move that we approve the consent agenda excluding items 9 and 16.
Very good. And do I have a second? Ms. Klein, thank you very much. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We will go to agenda item 9, which is consider approval of waiver number for SS 33.901, the Universal Breakfast Program. Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Mr. Good. This is an element of the Texas Education Code that requires that schools that have over 80% of low-income students to extend the free and reduced meal program to 100% of the campus. That is, we currently provide free and reduced meals to the 80% or more, but if there's a greater than 80% of free and reduced students on the campus, it requires us to provide it free to all students unless we ask for a waiver. We're asking for a waiver tonight, not because we don't think we would be good to provide the free meals to the other students, but because the legislature provides no additional funding to do that, so that would be at the district's cost. Considering our current student nutrition program operates at essentially a break-even process, this would essentially require the district to fund through taxpayers' funds the additional $80,000 to $100,000 additional cost of the program. Another element of the statute requires us also to consider this element as a separate item on the agenda. So to make this a single separate item, I'd like to ask you to pull it off. And it also requires the board to have an opportunity for public comment. So it's not a public hearing per se, but we would suggest to the board that you allow any opportunity for public comment on this matter before you take action on it.
Very good. Board members, at this time, we will allow any public comments from the audience regarding this agenda item. Are there any comments from the audience at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, we will then, board members, take action. Mr. Short.
I'd like to ask Mr. Hyde a question.
Yes, sir.
This waiver is on an annual basis?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At this time, we'll take a motion. Go. Ms. Klein.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 9 on the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Matthews, thank you very much. All those in favor of approval of agenda item 4B9, consider approval of the waiver for the Universal Breakfast Program, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Agenda item 4B16, which is consider all matters related to CSP number 15-04-151-0 for a request for competitive sealed proposals for construction manager at risk for the La Valita Elementary School addition, including awarding this contract to WB Kibler Construction Company Limited. Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Mr. Good. I asked Mr. Hibbs to come just to give you a little briefing based on some questions I had earlier. I just thought it would be worthwhile to explain that this is actually a new contractor and some of our processes and the project itself. So, Mr. Hibbs.
Thank you, guys. I'm on, I guess. Dr. Burns usually puts me on a 7-second delay, so anyway.
Both sides.
Kilroy Construction is a new contractor to the district. They did go through our standard selection process and did appear to give the best value for the district. So we are going to use them. For those of us like me that's been around for a long, long time, I have done some projects with these guys in the past and with very favorable result. They are a player in the school edition market. So where they may be a little bit new to us, they are not new to the, especially the school construction market in this sweet spot of cost, of which we're applying them here. So between our processes that our purchasing department and our architects have put them through and the selection process in their history, I am confident that they can perform for us well. They'll also be adding these additions to La Villita with tax increment reinvestment funds, so we'll be able to utilize the funds from that mechanism to apply these additions to the district, and I foresee a very favorable outcome.
Board members, are there any questions? I do have one question. How many years have they been working in the education industry?
The last time I used them, which was about 1995, they've probably been in 25 or 30 years, longer than I can remember.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Short.
Mr. Short.
Mr. Hibbs, do you think the bidding for this project was impacted at all by the fact that it's TIF funds?
I don't think, as far as the contractor selection or the contractor participation, the TIF funds affected that. By and large, coming from the contractor side of the industry, even though the margin for profit on school districts is not great, you're not going to make a large profit margin by doing work for school districts. School districts typically have the money. So that's where one of the things that you get in trouble with when you do work for sometimes private sector is you get halfway through a project and they come to a contractor and go, you know, we're a little short on funds.
And not only do school districts ordinarily have the money, but when it's coming from a TIF fund, they really have the money.
They really have the money. That's correct.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, sir.
Board members, agenda item 4B16. What is your pleasure? Mr. Short.
Move that we approve consent agenda item 4B16.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Matthews, thank you very much. All those in favor of agenda item 4B16, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Mr. Good, if I may just
Yes, sir.
interrupt for just a second. On the consent agenda, there was another relatively significant item, and I'd just like to point it out for the board and the public. We have tonight with us representatives of Wells Fargo Bank, our new depository banking services. Just wanted to recognize their participation and thank them for coming here tonight, even though it was a relatively quick item on the consent agenda.
Very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for charging less than the previous.
Mr. Hyde, anything further?
That's all.
At this time, we'll go to agenda item 4C, which is consider selection of elementary principal. Dr. Burns.
Mr. Good, members of the board, as you know, we do have one elementary principal position open this year due to the retirement of Miss Becky Taylor at Central Elementary. And so after our process has been completed, a very thorough process, I might add, I think you could ask the recommendation tonight, who we're recommending. If the process was thorough, he would agree. But after thorough process, we have a name to present to you tonight to recommend for elementary principal. The assignment will be Central Elementary, and that is Mr. Robert Atchison. Mr. Atchison, would you stand up? You have his resume, so you know a little bit about Robert, but he is a CFB person in terms of his employment, all with us as a teacher and an administrator. So he's been with CFB the last 10 years, and so we are proud to recommend him tonight for elementary principal.
Very good. Board members, you have the information on Mr. Atchison. At this time, are there any questions? Mr. Short.
How did an elementary student dare to misbehave with him standing in the hallway?
Very good. Any questions? If not, this is an action item.
Okay.
Mr. Shore.
I move that we approve the administration's selection for the principal of Central Elementary School.
Very good. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Fleming. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Agenda item 4D, which is consider all matters related to one-time supplemental payments for the 2015-2016 school year, including the adoption of a board resolution authorizing such payments in 2015-2016. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Good. And members of the board, as you know, part of our process.
Didn't we skip D?
You actually skipped an item.
Compensation plan D? Yes, sir. Oh, D, consider all matters related to 2015-2016.
Do I have a D? I have the draft copy in front of me. Very good. I stand corrected.
That's okay.
Okay, I've got it right here.
You want to read D?
Thank you very much. I've got it.
Read D for the record?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Consider all matters related to the 2015-2016 compensation plan.
Okay.
Mr. Height, you happy with that?
He's got it.
Very good.
Mark, before you start, I just want to recall for the board members, part of our process is we talk about the budget, but then we have been very intentional with doing the compensation ahead of time in terms of letting our teachers know. We're in the process of obviously retention and attainment. And so the sooner we know, the better. And so that is a part of the process, and I have to bring that to you. So, Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. You did absolutely spectacular entree into this item. The budget that you've been considering for the past few months is not significantly different tonight. We've shared with you what the financial condition of the district is. We've shared with you what our expectation of next year's finances are. We've shared with you our lack of knowledge of what the legislature is going to do in the next few weeks. Tanya and I are growing a little bit anxious that the session is rapidly reaching a point where new legislation is going to have a hard time being finalized. So it's going to leave us into a situation of either a special session or default to the old system. And the old system doesn't do us a whole lot of good. But that being said, we think we've got a situation for you where we can recommend to you a compensation program with minor risk of any significant changes in our funding program, risks that we feel like we're comfortable taking with our financial backing. And Ms. Tillman's going to present to you a little bit of an overview of the financial situation, a little bit of substantiation of the condition we're in, and then Ms. Garza will present to you a brief overview of what our recommendation for the compensation package is. Ms. Tillman?
Yes, and before I get started, I did want to take a quick minute and recognize business office staff that are here this evening. They normally sit on the back row because they don't want anybody to know they're here. But we do have Carol Marks, Steve Franks, and Anna Brady all with the business office, and I thank them for all the work they do right up here on the front, and appreciate them being here this evening. And so the first slide we're going to look at is just a reminder of the information we presented to you last month in terms of our 15-16 budget. We are looking at approximately a $10 million deficit, close to what we had in 14-15. Just as a quick reminder, we are projecting tax revenues to be up approximately 6.8%. In terms of our state funding, because of the increase in our tax revenues this year, we automatically have a $10 million loss in state funding because of the catch-up that happens with our tax revenue. We've built in $3.5 million into this number for additional revenue from the state. If that doesn't happen, we have to keep in mind that the $10 million will be up from that, about $3.5 million. And we'll talk more about what that impact would look like on our fund balance. In terms of our general operating expenditures, we have included a compensation plan in these numbers, and it's being offset by a reduction in the amount of technology funds that we have budgeted from 14-15 to 15-16. You see our TIF payment going up significantly. It's the same as our state revenue. That's a result of our current year increase in values that will catch up with us next year when we make the TIF payment. So in terms of board identified priorities, this budget does include a compensation plan adjustment. It includes technology and facilities infrastructures. Some but not all of the technology identified are included in this budget. We would remain within our fund balance target. It does not address any staffing levels that we've discussed, so we would expect waivers in the fall based upon our current staffing numbers. It does not include additional funds for any significant future commitments to instructional improvement. If we utilize our current estimate for 14-15 and roll that number forward, our fund balance ending in 15-16 would be just over $61 million, which would be 105 days. If we take into consideration the possibility that the state may not come to an agreement and put any additional funds in for school districts, then that number would drop to about 99 days. At the last board meeting, we had a request from a board member to evaluate what other districts in our area maintained in their fund balance. So we took a look at 12 other districts in the surrounding area in terms of fund balance and days of operations. The average for the districts that we looked at was 147, and this was at the end of the prior fiscal year. We're just under the average at 142 days. You can see the highest being Capel at 228, keeping in mind that they have had a TRE in place for quite some time. The lowest being Frisco at 97. If we were to move forward and actually end up with a 99 to 105 days in operations at the end of 15-16, not knowing what these districts may be doing, that could put us at the lower end of what districts maintain in this area. Our trend is what we want to keep reminding you of because we can't maintain this trend. You can see in 2013 we utilized a slight amount of fund balance. It grew in 14 to 3.9 million. It will grow in 14-15 and with no changes in 15-16 as well. Additional information that was requested had to do with tax rates from surrounding districts. So we used the same districts that we looked at, their fund balance. You can see in the area the highest tax rate this year was McKinney at $1.67. The lowest was Garland at $1.2533. We're the second lowest out of this group at $1.3033. The average for these districts is $1.4354, with 4 districts in this group having held a TRE, including Allen, Capel, McKinney, and Plano. This is a trend that we do like. Just as a reminder, our tax rate in 2015 was as low as it's been since 1992. And this evening, we're asking the board to consider compensation specifically. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Garza to provide you with additional information that was requested at the last meeting as well.
So we did survey surrounding school districts to see what they were thinking as far as pay increases for next year. And I do want to note that these are just proposals at this time. We tried to get as much information as we could from the districts. Some of them have still not determined what they're going to do. But if you look at the column on the right-hand side, those are the proposed raises for next year. And we are recommending a 3% increase, which pretty much aligns with what the majority of the districts that we have surveyed thus far are also going to be giving. And just this week, TASB released results from a survey that they conducted statewide, where they asked districts if they were considering giving a raise next year. And of those that responded, 80% said that they will most likely be giving a raise. And of that group, they are going to be giving anywhere from a 2 to 3% increase, which pretty much aligns with what we have here. The next slide just gives you a picture of what we have given as far as raises over the past 5 years. This evening, our compensation proposal includes to maintain the longevity and performance pay plan, which is a separate agenda item for tonight. We are also recommending a beginning teacher pay of $49,400, which is up from the $48,300 that we currently pay. And we're also recommending a 3% pay increase, which is approximately a $4 million increase in the general fund operating budget. If you break that down by percentage, you're looking at a little over $1 million.
Trini, would you advance it? To summarize, the compensation package that we're presenting to you tonight, the purpose of doing it early in the process, as Dr. Burns said, is to allow us to set our new teacher starting salaries so that we can quote accurate information to teachers. It's a little bit unfair to a new teacher to ask them to come to work for us and tell them we don't know exactly what we're going to pay them in a few months, but that's what we've had to do a few times in the past. By asking you to do this in advance, we're able to set those schedules early, and teachers that we hire can know that number literally after tonight. The other thing it allows us to do is for all those staff that contracts go into place in mid-year. In the past, if we don't adopt a set compensation package until late, oftentimes they have to wait until August or even September before their raise for their new year goes into effect. So we've retroactively paid them for that amount, but still they don't get their raise until a month later. As Trini indicated, our raise proposal is at the slight top edge of what some of our survey districts are and what the TASB survey said. But if you notice, our beginning teacher's salary is driven by that raise amount. We can't raise our new hire schedule any more than we give raises. We obviously don't want to raise our beginning teacher salaries higher than what someone we paid in the previous year. So those are all indexed off one another. And if you'll notice, we're still on the relatively low end of the beginning teacher salary schedule. So part of the rationale for the 3% raise is to have some benefit and some increase in the beginning teacher salary. So those are the reasons that we came to the amounts that we have. We believe our teachers are worth a lot more than 3% raise. We believe even our new hires are worth a lot more than that schedule says. Unfortunately, in the economic realities of Texas today, that's all we can afford to pay them. We recommend to you this is a good compensation package. I want to point out to you also tonight, as part of the recommendation for you to take action on, in your packet was a list of salary schedules and pay rates and stipend amounts. Most of those numbers are indexed also off of this raise and off of the new hire schedule. These are just adjusting those schedules to reflect their increases. The stipend schedules, we are in the first year of a 3-year cycle process to review all of those stipends and try to maintain some internal and external equity into those. So this year we've had more than a third of them have been reviewed, and we're making some modest adjustments in. Most of them are the same as they were last year, actually, and next year we'll do another third of them. So with that, what we have there, the staff recommends that the board approve the 2015-16 compensation plan and the 15-16 salary schedules as presented, including a 3% pay increase for all eligible employees.
Very good. Board members, questions at this time? Mr. Shore.
Ms. Tillman, I heard you use the word compensation adjustment. Just so we're clear on this, is adjustment in the way you use it synonymous with RAISE?
Yes.
Thank you.
However,
However, what?
there's some other adjustments that are going to happen to our employees next year.
Like the health insurance that they're going to have to pick up.
Yes, and TRS.
So for the public, if the public were to think that each of our employees, if this body goes along with what the staff is recommending, their 3% increase won't be a 3% increase in their pocket.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I also heard you say that looks like a worst case scenario, we'd have a fund balance of 99 days.
Yes.
Now, fund balance is a fancy way of saying a savings account for a school district, correct? And even though those other school districts had what I consider to be exorbitant fund balances, what do most experts say the range of a fund balance should be?
It depends on if you're a property wealthy district. Some other factors property wealthy districts need to have on the higher end, but a minimum of 90 days if you're property wealthy, it's a good idea to have slightly higher than that.
Would you agree that some people say it can be as low as 60?
I would not agree to that.
Okay,
no.
neither would Mark, would he?
No,
No. But there are some people who say 60 to 90 days is fine.
probably, yes.
Okay, the Scrooges over there.
Nobody you would want to be your CFO, though.
I doubt that.
Mr. Shore, other questions?
No, thank you.
Board members, other questions?
Oh, I do, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Shore.
Ms. Garza, we're kind of like the owners of this athletic team. If we use the analogy of an athletic team, we're like the owners of the team. And you and Dr. Burns are the general manager, okay? Like most owners, we have a little bit of competitiveness within us. And we want to make certain, to the best of our ability, that we give our general manager the tools to get the best possible players possible. And so my question is, if we approve this compensation plan that you're presenting, do you feel that we're giving you the tools that are necessary to get players that will keep us competitive?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And I would concur, Mr. Shore, not just with the compensation, but what we offer in terms of professional growth and development. We believe this district has something else to offer those hires. And so with the competitive salary and the other intangibles, we're going to put together the best team possible to put on the field.
But we're not, but if we do this, you're not going out there seeking free agents with one arm tied behind your back.
Correct. We feel like we are, the playing field is somewhat leveled, other than the big picture of school finance. But in terms of the salary schedule you saw, we think the playing field's pretty even.
James, thank you for humoring me.
Very good. Board members, any other questions? I do have one for Ms. Tillman. Regarding the slide, if you could put it back up that showed the average tax rate for the various schools, and you said the average, I think, was $1.43.
Yes. It's not on the slide,
Based upon your list of schools listed there, I cannot see what their basic tax rates are.
Can you make it bigger there, Tom?
What I'm trying to understand, hypothetically, if you took those schools and set them with the maximum tax rates, everyone was taxing at the maximum tax rate, I'm trying to understand, where would the average tax rate go to?
It would be 13 cents higher. If you're talking the maximum.
If they took the TRE or without?
Well, if everyone had the TRE, but I do not know how many of those that are listed have, I can't.
4 of them have a TRE.
Okay, 4 have the maximum.
Allen, Capel, McKinney, and Plano all have a TRE. Allen is at $1.16, not $1.17.
Okay. Hypothetically, if at least 50% to 75% of those school districts were taxing at the maximum rate, that average tax rate would go up, not 13%, but some fraction of that. And what I'm trying to understand is, it's interesting, the numbers, when you indicate that the average tax rate, I think up there, was $1.43, we're at $1.30, which is exactly 13 cents less. And therefore, if we were taxing at the maximum tax rate, we would only be at the average.
That's correct.
We would not be having an exorbitant tax rate. And I think that's interesting for us to appreciate and understand.
And Mark and Tanya would be happy because they'd have a bigger fund balance.
That's true.
That is absolutely
And Ms.
correct.
Warnock would be happy because she would spend more money on high achievement for all students.
Well, we need to look at that from the point of view, if we're taxing at the maximum tax rate, if approved by our constituents to go to $1.17, we would really just be average at our tax rate. And I think that's an important observation that all of our constituents need to understand. So I appreciate that information.
Yes, excellent point.
Ms. Klein.
I have a question also, Ms. Tillman. We recently all got our new appraisals for our houses.
Yes.
And can you kind of go over how much the school district gets of the increased appraisal rates that?
Well, we have received one number, and of course that's an estimate, and district-wide we were up 6.8% if you just look from April to April, but that will decline. So in the first year that we receive that tax revenue, we don't take the hit from the state. It comes in the second year, so the increase we get the first year, but then the state catches up the next year and we lose state funding on that right now because we're not a target revenue district. So the state's not adjusting us because we're on formula now.
And to summarize, I think what you're getting at, Ms. Klein, is with the exception of a one-year lag that Ms. Tillman described, we actually get no significantly additional funds, even though our tax values go up.
Yes.
I actually heard at work people saying that the school districts are causing people's taxes to go up, and I'm thinking it doesn't really do us any good.
No.
So.
There's a reason the word ignorance exists.
Yes.
Ms. Klein, anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, this is an action item, which is to consider all matters related to the 2015-2016 compensation plan. What's your preference? Mr. Short.
I move that we approve the compensation plan as presented by the administration, and I move that we approve the one-time supplemental payment for 2015-2016.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, I believe.
Just trying to speed things up.
Okay, thank you. With that being, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Matthews, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Agenda item 4E, consider all matters related to one-time supplemental payments for the 2015-16 school year, including the adoption of a board resolution authorizing such payments in 2015-16. Dr. Burns.
Mr. Good, members of the board, we'll let Mr. Height give you a quick explanation of that and clarify the purpose of this.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. The board's familiar with these items because this is a continuation of a program we started last year. We separate these as an independent agenda item simply because they are unique in the way the law in Texas requires board action for supplemental pay, mid-year pay, if you will, like this. There are two items. We have a resolution in your packet, but I'll summarize the resolution. I will not read it to you. The resolution effectively says that the district will provide a one-time supplemental payment for two different things. One is for longevity within the district, and one is performance as a district as a whole. We're recommending the same as we did last year. The payment for longevity is based on years service with the district. The longer you work with the district, the higher that amount is based on years of service. And the longevity and the performance pay is based on performance based on ERG district performance data. We recommend you to adopt this resolution and continue this program into the future.
Anything further?
That's all.
Board members, any questions? Okay, what would you like to do? Do I have a motion from someone? Mr. Matthews.
I move that we approve all matters related to the one-time supplemental payment for 2015-2016 school year, including the adoption of board resolution authorizing such payments.
Very good. Do I have a second? Ms. Klein.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, very good. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 4F, consider all matters related to proposed resolution in opposition to school vouchers. Dr. Burns?
Mr. Good and members of the board and audience, several years ago, this board took a stand against vouchers to be used for public schools, or to go to private schools from public schools specifically. That argument or that debate has raised its head again in the legislation, and there's been several different versions of that, but the essence of it is it's taking public dollars to be used for private school education or other. We just felt like this board may want to consider taking that stance strongly again and proposing this resolution and presenting it to our legislators that represent us in our opposition, if that's the board's pleasure.
Very good. Board members, questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Mr. Shore.
I move that we approve resolution opposing the utilization of school vouchers.
Very good. I have a motion. Mr. Matthews, do I have a second?
Yes.
Very good. I have a motion and a second to consider all matters related to proposed resolution in opposition to school vouchers. Please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We will go to agenda item 5, which is comments from board members. Board members, we have the opportunity to make any comments regarding the agenda items 4B through 4F. Are there any comments you wish to make regarding those items?
Yes.
Mr. Short.
Regarding D and E, on behalf of this board, I want to applaud the administration for the diligence, if there is such a word, conscientiousness with which you apply yourselves in preparing a budget to present to this board that, as effectively as it can, helps us achieve our goal of high achievement for all students, and you deserve to be applauded for that.
I would agree.
Very good.
I second Mr. Shore's motion.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, let's not, I don't have any feelings. Let's not get carried away.
Any further comments? If not, we're going to move on to agenda item 6, which is closed meeting as authorized under the Texas Government Code, including but not limited to Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, real property, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, security devices, 551.082, school, children, district employees, disciplinary matter or complaint, 551.0821, personally identifiable student information, and 551.084, investigation. As allowed under Texas Open Meetings Law, we do have 2 items for discussion in closed meeting, and they are, at this time, item A, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with legal counsel pending and anticipated litigation against the district, including civil action number 3:CV-01239-D, pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas and retention of legal counsel. Item B, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.072, deliberation regarding the purchase of real property. What we are going to do, we are going to close this meeting. The board is going into closed session. You're welcome to stay right here. The board will leave and go into our other executive conference room to have this discussion. And after that discussion, we will come back and open meeting to see if there's any action that needs to be taken. So at this time, we will close this meeting and go into closed session at 8:49 p.m. We are reconvening in open session at 10:26 p.m. We will take in the public meeting here, agenda item 7A, which is consider and take possible action to retain legal counsel for pending litigation, civil action number 3:15-CV-01239-D, pending United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas. Is there any action this board wishes to take regarding this item at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, no action will be taken on agenda item A. We will move on to agenda item 7B, which is consider and take possible action regarding pending. Those are both the same. Agenda items. Bobby, what does yours say? There's nothing regarding B, which is purchase real property. So,
It's okay.
board members, regarding the second portion of closed session was deliberation regarding the purchase of real property. There was no action being taken at this time. Therefore, we will move on to agenda item 8, which is adjournment, and by my determination, there's nothing else to be discussed, and we are, pardon?
Talk about the rain.
We are adjourned at 10:28 p.m.